Hey guys, and welcome back. Today is William's 8-month update. We have some sleeping things, baby-led weaning, and definitely some milestones to cover. And then I want to chit chat about a postpartum update. I haven't really included one the past couple months because I didn't really feel like I had much to say, but I definitely do today. So stay tuned for that. But little man is still in size 4 diapers and is now wearing 9 to 12 month clothing, just growing like a weed. We haven't weighed him in a while and his next doctor's appointment is in a month, but we're estimating he's like about 23 pounds-ish and he is 28 inches tall. We are still breastfeeding and doing baby-led weaning. He is only eating breakfast and dinner still. I've tried to offer lunch and he's just still not into it, so I'm not gonna push him at all. But he is loving food lately, guys. His favorites are probably tomatoes, asparagus, and toast. Literally any type of toast, doesn't matter what's on it. This kid loves bread like his mom. He's definitely gotten better at generally eating. Pouches he understands now completely. Spoons, he brings them to his mouth. You know, normally shakes all the food off first, but he knows to bring it to his mouth and how to eat off the spoon when he wants to. And he's getting really good at just picking up the food and putting it in his mouth. But the hard part is he doesn't have teeth. So even though he's moving it around his mouth, he does the chewing motion sometimes when it's kind of a bigger piece of something, but he just can't break it down without his teeth. So he just kind of like smushes it around and tries to swallow. Now, mama is still anxious about meat. I mentioned that in my last video, I think it was, or 2 videos ago. I'll link it up above. It was my what my baby eats in a day. And meat, we've just had close calls with choking with chicken, pork, and salmon. So I just get very anxious, but I know I need to offer it to him and just watch him closely. So we are slowly implementing more meats. He does really well with steak just because it's, you know, tougher to, you know, rip a piece off. He just kind of sucks on it and gets little itty bitty slices. But yeah, I need to just keep offering the protein and stick with it, and eventually he will get teeth and understand how to chew just in time. But right now it just causes a little bit of anxiety, which I'll kind of talk about later. And then I can happily say we moved him to his own room this month. He is now sleeping in his crib. Now, that was not an easy journey. I shared it in a couple different vlogs. It was definitely rough. And we didn't do the cried out method or a strict Ferber method. I kind of just did a hodgepodge DIY thing. I would call it a whatever mom's feeling in that moment method. Okay? And guess what? It worked. About a week went on and it was a rough week, but everything settled in and he was doing really well. He got into a schedule of going to bed at his normal time around 8:30, and then at 10 he would wake up very upset saying, why am I still in my crib? Why am I alone? I would come in, I would pat his butt, go back to sleep, and then he would sleep until about 2 or 3 in the morning, and he'd wake up to nurse. And then around 6:30, Will would leave for work. I think he would hear Dad leave for work and then just kind of wake up and want to eat. So me being lazy and tired at 6:30, he would just come in to my bed and I would nurse him in my bed. I know that's not necessarily the way to do it and not very consistent with sleeping in his crib, but just being honest with you guys. So I co-sleep from like 6:30 to like 8, and then I try and get out of bed around 8-ish so he can sleep 8:30 till 9. I have a couple minutes to get my morning moving. But that's kind of what our schedule has been looking like now that he is in the crib. We did get sick, and during that time, oh my gosh, guys, I didn't even mention that. He started this month out with a cold, which wasn't that bad, but just mucusy. And then we ended the 7th month with just a horrible sickness. It was horrible. Pretty sure it was the flu. And we all just had fevers. So at that point, I brought him in our bed because I didn't want him alone in his room. And I honestly didn't sleep. I just was staring at him the whole night because he had a fever. Yes, Motrin brought it down, but mom anxiety. Do you see a theme in this video so far? My mom anxiety, just, I had to watch him. So he was with us while he was sick, but then we are back in the crib doing that whole schedule I just explained to you guys. Hopefully all that makes sense. He is still wearing a sleep sack, which we think is honestly a make it or break it situation for our family. It really helps. You can tell when he's not wearing a sleep sack. We just transitioned to the nested bean sleep sack last month. It was kind of a situation where the Halo sleep sack was dirty, and then we washed it, and then he dirtied it again. It was just a kind of a fluke scenario, and we pulled out the nested bean, and we've been using it ever since. And then once he moved to his room, I did start using the Owlette sock. I thought I was going to be using it from day one, but I just never did. He was literally inches from me in the bassinet, and I just never felt the need to because I was a light sleeper watching him anyway. But now that he's in his own room, it just lets me relax and feel more confident that he is in his room alone. Like I mentioned, he doesn't have teeth yet, but I think teething is kind of ramping up again because his drool has just like increased. I mean, overnight, just lots of drool. And that brings us to his first favorite on his favorite list I wrote down for this month. He has been loving this vibrating teether that his Nana gifted him. It's this little corn teether, and he'll put it in his mouth and it just starts to vibrate. I think it really soothes his gums. He's been loving that thing. And then just like in his last month's update, he is obsessed with standing. He is so obsessed. He doesn't want to lay down at all. At all times, he wants to sit or stand. And he can stand on his own for probably 30 seconds to a minute in that range, depending on how good he is trying to balance, like how focused he is. His absolute favorite game at the moment is when we put little toys in between the rings of his crib, and he'll stand right here and just like cruise along, you know, which if you don't know the term cruising, just means holding on to something and like walking along it is, they call it cruising. But he'll just cruise along the crib, picking up his toy, playing with it, dropping it, cruising down to the next toy. And he will do this for hours if we let him. This kid loves it. As far as crawling, he isn't crawling, doesn't really seem to want to crawl, but if we put him on his tummy, he'll get into the crawling position pretty much immediately, but it kind of stops there. There's no rocking, there's no other movements. At that point, he just starts fussing because he wants us to help him stand up is what we kind of can get from the fussing. I feel like that was a tangent. Oh, favorites. We're talking about favorites. Another thing is this little bag I got him. He was obsessed with my makeup bag, so I figured let me get him his own. I got this 99-cent bag at Target, and I just put some fun little teethers and toys in there, and he loves to unzip it, and we open it up and take everything out, and then we put everything back in, zip it up. He loves it. He loves that thing. The last favorite I put on his list is outside. This has been his favorite since like day one, but this kid loves outside. He loved the beach, was not afraid of the waves. He loves going in his little pool. If we walk outside, he's just a happy camper. Any time of day, he could be in the worst mood. He is just happy outside still. So I'm not complaining about that because we're outside people. And then one of my all-time favorite things that he does is when he's happy, he'll take his feet and just like rotate them in a circle. It is the cutest thing ever. I think I got a clip of it yesterday. I'll put it on the screen for you guys, but it's just so cute. And then he is definitely a mama's boy. It's been like slowly showing as time has gone on. And then when he got sick, he was just on me, just 24/7. Of course, he just wanted mama's cuddle, so that was cool. But then he's not sick anymore, and all he wants is mama. Last night I wasn't around for bedtime, and Will said he was just staring at the door the entire time, and he was very upset. And I'm just like, poor guy, but he has to get used to it eventually. So now on to my update. I don't really know what I want to say or how I want to say it, or if any of this is going to make sense. But I'm going to try and give it my best shot. So around the 3-month mark, I think it was William's 3-month update, I said I was feeling pretty much back to normal. And at that time, like, I thought I was feeling back to normal, but looking back, I was not. Physically, like, not physically, medically, let's say medically, I was back to normal. Like, I wasn't in pain, I wasn't sore. Medically, like, should be normal, but I wasn't feeling like myself. I was kind of in a fog, and I don't want to say was, because I probably still am in this little fog, but it's like lifting. And I didn't notice it until William kind of moved into his room, and I had a little bit of time to myself to just like be Elena, like not mom Elena, just Elena, and just like think through my thoughts, you know? I don't know how to explain that. And I think having that little bit of time has been really helpful for me, even though it's literally like 30 minutes. But it has been really helpful for me just to like process my day, process my feelings and like what's going on. You guys can probably tell in, you know, my past vlogs over, I don't know how long you've noticed it. I really noticed it the past like 2 months. I was just very down. I was very down and didn't know how to come out of it. I was just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed, which put me down. See, I'm rambling, guys. I knew this was gonna happen because I'm still like coming out of it, so it's not like I can say, you know, it's in the past and I have full clarity over everything. I'm still working through all of these things, but I definitely feel like I'm coming out of the fog. Now, as I'm coming out of the fog, I feel like my mom anxiety is just like exploding. And I don't know if it's because he's getting older, he's walking more, he's doing more things, he has more chances to get hurt, he's eating, so he has more chances to choke on something. But like every time he's not with me, I definitely feel the anxiety. Now with that said, that has nothing to do with like who we're leaving him with. He's only stayed with grandma and grandpa's, but it still is just in the back of my mind at all times. And like I said, I know like the people caring for him love him, aren't gonna do anything, like they're literally watching him 100% of the time. But it's all mental for me. And especially when it comes to eating, like when he does start eating lunch, I don't know what I'm gonna have to do, because I'm gonna have to have others feed him, and that just gives me so much anxiety. I've been there for every single meal, every single item of food this kid has put into his body, other than 2 meals, and one of those was last night. And those are meals that I prepared, and Dad gave him the meals. So now, tonight we're actually going on a date night, and Grandma will be feeding him. And I'm having a lot of anxiety around it, and like I'm literally preparing him the softest food ever. I think he's gonna have a pouch. It's a me thing, and I know it is, because I know the people watching him know how to handle these situations. Like, they're not new to babies, but it still gives me anxiety, and I'm trying to work through that anxiety and like not work through, I guess just accept it. Like, it is what it is. I'm not going to be there his whole life. It hasn't been easy in that department, and I know that I'm lucky that I am staying home with him most of the time and I don't have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis, but it is still hard. Now, I don't know what I'm even saying. I'm rambling at this point, guys. And like physically, I feel pretty good. However, I don't think I was fully grasping how tiring breastfeeding is. And I've been doing it for 8 months, but it is draining. It drains your body of energy. Like, I'm just exhausted. Like, I'm sleeping a lot better than I used to, but I just feel like pregnancy exhausted. No, not pregnant, guys. Not pregnant. That was not a hint. Promise I'm not pregnant. I have to remind myself my body is doing all these extra things to produce milk, and I feel like after the first like month, like no one talks about it. It's exhausting. Even just thinking about pumping and like, oh, when does he need to eat versus when do I need to pump because I need a bottle for tonight, we're going on a date. Just even that is exhausting, and that's not even my body doing the work. So I'm just now processing how much that has taken a toll on me. And then clogged milk ducts, guys. I think I had 2. Did I have 2 over this past month? Yeah. I don't know what it was. I didn't even skip a feeding. I just had 2 clogged milk ducts, and they are the worst. Now, with them being the worst, I know how to handle them now. I know how to get them like unclogged pretty quick. I've learned what works for my body, and like I just know all the tips now. I've had them enough. I think I've had them like 5 or 6 times. They're just not fun, and I wouldn't wish them on anyone. Even like the low-key clogged duct, wouldn't wish it on anyone. No, never. But then it comes to like my body and like my body image and how I'm feeling about that. I want to give you guys an update on that. I don't know. I really, up to this point, have not been worried about it. I really have not been upset about my stretch marks. I'm still not upset about my stretch marks, but I'm definitely not at pre-pregnancy weight, and I think it's like dawning on me that it's like, it's been a while, Elena, you know, like you need to make an effort. I'm not even like mad is not the right word. I'm not even upset necessarily at my body or about my body and not being at my pre-pregnancy weight. I'm more like upset at myself for not trying to get there. If that is making any sense, but I have to remind myself I am still breastfeeding. It's a lot of energy. That's kind of where that whole conversation from earlier came from. But I don't know, I'm still working through all that pregnancy like body image things because my body is still like for my baby. Like I'm still breastfeeding. I'm pretty sure no one's watching this. I'm pretty sure if you are, you're confused. But that is my update. My update is that I'm trying to figure it out and make sense of what the heck is going on in my head and what is heck going on with my body. Pretty much. There's that. So cheers. Look, I am a 2021 dad to be again. I don't know why I just always seem to have this during William's updates, but that's who I am today. Hopefully the next update I'll have a little bit more clarity on this subject matter, but I wanted to just share with you guys and make it just normal to chat about. Because being confused about your mental state and about everything is normal, I feel. So why don't we chat about it? I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hopefully followed it at least somewhat. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe by clicking my face right here, and check out my latest video down here on what I spend in a week on baby William. It's a fun one. I hope you guys like it. See you guys later.